pass the floor over to Miss Jenn Richardson. Jenn, take it away.
Thank you so much. I'm so excited to be on tonight. And honestly, this topic is kind of cool to talk about because when I started in 2013, I was actually a discount coach for an entire year. So I worked my way into the business, just like learning from the back end. I was still working full time for that first year. So January of 2014, I decided, okay, I'm going to do this. I'm really going to give this a shot. And I had like 20 coaches under me total in my whole downline. And I was like, you know what? The reason why did I join? And I joined because Stephanie Chico had created this like family. Like I felt like I was joining a family more so than I was joining like a team or even like a job. Like it didn't feel like I was joining like a job. It was like this cool family club type thing. So I knew when I started with my girls, I was like, we're small, but you know what, let's do this as a family and let's grow together. So I really pushed the emphasis off me completely. It was never about me. It was always about them. And so the first thing I do with new coaches when I'm talking to them, even before they sign up, is I ask them why. Like, what is your why? Because if you want to work this business and be successful at it, there are going to be so many frustrating. You need to have a strong inner reason why you're going to keep plugging along. And it's kind of cool to learn this about a potential coach, someone that you're talking with before they join your team. And I think that connection, like them sharing that right off the bat with you, they have this bond. And so when they do decide to, sign up and officially become a coach, you already have like this kind of like kinship with them. So I try to really develop like that friendship before they even officially become my PS coach. And I think that's so important. We never want our coaches to feel like they're just a number. I think probably a lot of us have worked jobs in other places before we came to Beachbody. And I worked in New York City at this PR firm, and I was very much just a number. They wouldn't even call me by my name. Like they didn't know who I was. They were, I was just a person that did tasks that they needed to get done. And I told myself, like, no matter what I do going forward, if I'm ever in a position where there's anyone under me in any way, I always want to make sure that they feel special and they feel important. So I think that's like the biggest thing. People want to be successful when they feel they're in an environment where someone's proud of them, and I just think that's just us as human nature. Like we want someone to tell us like, you're doing awesome, like you're doing great and I'm here for you. And like, I want this for you. So I think like that's part of the culture is really making them feel like special and wanted. So that's kind of like an emotional aspect of it, but getting my coaches started right, I think I've tried so many different tactics over like the past 2 years of the best way to, get a new coach signed up. And I think it's pretty common to do getting started right calls. I am not a phone person. I love Zooms and I love FaceTime and I love the internet. I really don't like putting a phone to my ear and talking. So that's never been something I've utilized in my business ever. I've never done a getting started right call with any of my coaches. As they grow in their business, with my diamonds mostly, or those that are really pushing in their business and they're really trying, if they want to get on the phone with me, I will, but it's not something I do with a brand new coach. And a couple reasons why. One, a personal reason that I don't like the phone, but two, I think as a brand new coach, a lot of the times they don't know what to ask you. They're getting started, and no matter how good of a Coach Basics program we create, they're going to feel overwhelmed. I worked at Panera Bread in high school, and like when they sat me down in that back training room and like gave me my Panera Bread handbook, I was like, this is a lot to know. This is a lot of sandwiches I have to learn how to make. Like any job you have, like there's going to be that initial transition period where people are overwhelmed. So we want to make things as, easy as possible for them to jump in. And this, them coming in and feeling comfortable in their environment will make them not want to quit. It's going to make them want to learn more. It's going to make them want to work harder. So what I do is the first thing is I have a new coach training group that's a static group. And what I mean by that is it's not a live group. So we don't have like a start date of like December 5th and it goes through December 10th. So this group is ongoing. And what I did is I compiled a list of topics that to me were like the basics that a Beachbody coach needs to know to kind of get started. So what is Shakeology? How do we earn money? So kind of like a breakdown of like cycle bonuses. How do you brand yourself? What does coaching mean? So like kind of, there's about 13 topics, I believe, in my group, and they're all just basic topics. And I have a text. So there's verbiage, and then there is a video, because some people I have learned over time, they don't want to watch a video. They want to read. Some people work full time. Some people want to print out something and put it in a binder and be able to just read through it. So you want to create an environment where everybody is being, they're feeling comfortable that they can use this information the way that they learn best. So every topic has that, written breakdown and has a video. And they're able to move through it at their own pace, which I feel is really important. With these live groups, they're day 1, day 2, day 3, day 4. Some people's lives are just not conducive to that kind of environment to learn. So when I started coaching, I had a newborn. Mason was 2 months old, and I was like, there's no way that I can join this stuff. Like my hours were just crazy. And I was working full time, and it just wasn't possible. And at that time, this was years ago, we didn't have a structured kind of group that I could pop into and just read information about Beachbody. So it was kind of very learn as I go kind of process. A lot of my coaches work full time. So if I'm doing a live group and it's day 1, day 2, day 3, day 4, they can't always pop in. By the time they get home from work, they want to like eat dinner, maybe get their workout in, answer their own emails, and whatever it is, and like, so maybe they can't pop in. So having all of the information there for them to work through at their own pace, to me, watching this, and I have done live groups, I have done 1-day groups, I've done 10-day groups, I've done all these different things. This has been the best, and I've seen the most success come from these coaches that have gone through this particular group. And so some of my coaches, they go into that training group and they finish within 2 days. Like they bust right through it. And I have some coaches that they take their time. It may take them a couple weeks. And what I have is it's a spreadsheet. It's like a Google sheet, and they can print it out, and it has like the training topic, the date they completed it, and a note section. So in that note section, they can put any questions to me that they have while they're going through it. And when they finish their training, they send me that spreadsheet. And sometimes there's no notes. Sometimes there's a lot. Sometimes we'll Zoom and we'll go over all of the questions that they had. And other times they're like, I'm ready to go. Like, I feel really good about everything you told me, and I am ready to jump right in. So once they finish the training group, I send them a voice message over Facebook, basically telling them I'm about to add you to a lot of groups, because all I do when they first sign up is add them to the training group. I've also found over time, adding a new coach to 20 different groups, they freak out. Like we're used to having a billion notifications pop up all the time, and we know how to like turn the notifications off so that we're not swarmed when we log into Facebook with a million notifications from every group we're in. But a brand new coach, sometimes they don't know how to do that. And so the only group they're in at first is that new coach training group. So after they finish it, I send them that voice message, and I'm just like, hey, I'm so proud of you that you finished the new coach training. I'm going to add you to, and I kind of give them like a breakdown of what I'm adding them to. Our big coach group, which is my entire like Fit Couture team. And then I have a smaller group for my PS coaches, and I add them to that. And then I have a large free clean eating group that is an ongoing group. I've had it open for 2 years now, and they're added into that. And they are added into a social media bootcamp group that I created. For me personally, I had no warm market when I started. My friends and family were like, that's cool, you want to do this thing, but we have absolutely no interest at all. So I built my entire business through social media. So I feel like a lot of coaches, I hear from them, they're like, but nobody is interested that I know. And I'm like, yes, I totally get that struggle. So we utilize this social media bootcamp group that there's a template that is in the file section, and it was a live group at one time, but it's been going on for like a year now. So it's no longer a live group, but people can go back through that file section, review those posts that were part of the template of the live group. But now it's like an open-ended, people ask questions every day, like, how did you make that Rana flyer? Or how do you make that video where you put your pictures with, the video of you working out? And it's kind of like this really cool environment where people can come and ask questions all about social media. So they get added to that group. I have a conversation template group. We call it What to Say and How to Say It. And basically in this group, it's your common, what is Shakeology? Like, what is it? And then I have like a template of like, what is Shakeology? What I say to somebody when they ask me that. Objections. Like we have a whole section in there. Like if somebody's like, oh, it's way too expensive. And I have like a template for that. So I feel like that's another great, place to be able to put brand new coaches, because they're going to see these objections and they're going to get these questions. And before they're able to create their own answers from their own personal experience, we have this group that gives them quick and easy answers that they can use and kind of tweak a little bit and send off to like a customer or potential coach. And then they're added to our 21-day fix group. That one's ongoing. We have a PIO group, a size group, a hammer and chisel group. So what I do is I host these big team-wide ongoing accountability groups. And I do this because mostly for new coaches that come in and they might not necessarily have a means to run their own group at first. And so I just host these big team-wide groups. I'm sure like all of you guys do that. For my PS coaches, what I do is I have them for the first 30 days, they can go, that free clean eating group I mentioned to you guys, they can come in there and I run one free clean eating type group a month in there. And I let my PS coaches, my new ones, come in there and run that challenge with me and add their people in. And so they're able to learn how to do a challenge group. I don't expect my coaches right off the bat to just know how to do this and feel comfortable. So I run one of those. And then a Shakeology challenge, we try to run one of those, like a 7-day Shakeology challenge, one of those a month as well in that free clean eating group. And again, bring my PS coaches over there. This is just setting them up to know how to do this on their own, so that when they, after that first 30 days, I really encourage them to pair up with somebody else. And I do assign success partners for my coaches, my PS coaches, that don't immediately click with somebody else or isn't really sure who to pair up with. I do pair them up, and I recommend that they run these free challenge groups together, or these Shakeology challenge groups, or even an actual challenge group. I usually recommend they do like a pick your program type challenge group, just because if you're doing it with one other coach, sometimes it's hard if you're doing a specific program to fill a group and not have it kind of like be crickets in there. So pairing up with one other person and having them do this group together and get all of their challengers in there, I think it works really well for them. But having them stick with me for that first 30 days and seeing how I run a Shakeology challenge, seeing how I run that free crock pot group, it just gives them, confidence to be able to do their own. For our 21-day fix group and a lot of our other groups, we have like a meal plan. So I pop that in there, and my entire team is free to use it. What a lot of them do is they take my meal plan and they tweak it for their own, purposes. So I guess like basically what I try to do with my brand new PS coaches is give them all the tools that they need to be successful and to teach them as much as I can. And that way I can kind of push them out of the nest a little bit and be like, all right, you know what you're doing now. I've watched you go through this group and this group and this group. I've seen what you can do. So, now it's time to run your own group. And that 30 days, and if I feel like a coach maybe needs a little bit more time, of course, I'm not going to be like, sorry, your 30 days are up. But I would say like 95% of my PS coaches within that first month, they're like, I'm good. Like, I'm ready to do my own group. So those are kind of like how I, get started with them, like these brand new coaches. So a lot of the focus I put with my new coaches too, as far as their sales, is to not get stressed out about the challenge pack. And that's my initial thing, telling them from the beginning. Of course, I want them to, hit Success Club. But for them as a new coach, that 25% commission is a lot. So any sale is a good sale to me, whether they, it could be a refresh. I'm like, woohoo, you sold a refresh. Like, I'm so excited for you because, that first sale is, I remember my first sale, it was just like that, like goosebumps, like your heart's kind of racing, like as your customer's checking out. And so sometimes we forget that as we've been in the business for a couple of years, like you kind of forget how exciting that first sale was. So I kind of tell them that from the beginning on, like, just focus on any sale. Any sale is a good sale. And then as they get comfortable just talking to customers and talking to these potential customers and building these relationships with them, they get more comfortable in their own situation. That's when they gain that inner confidence to push the challenge pack and to be like, all right, I feel good. Like, I know what I'm talking about. I feel like I know these products now. And now I'm going to say, I'm going to lead with the challenge pack. And I'm going to say, like, this is what we offer and this is how we do it. And, and that's it. And then if they, I tell them, okay, so you might get a rebuttal and they'll say, well, that's just way too much. I don't have $160. Like, I can't do that. So a lot of coaches or people might immediately feel deflated. Like, oh, it's just too much money. They're not interested. So I tell them a common rebuttal is just to say, what is your budget? Because we have products that range from, $20 upwards. So let's figure out what your goals are and what your budget is, and we will find something that you can start with that fits your budget. And that makes them feel really good. Like, they feel like, okay, I'm not going to get discouraged that I didn't sell the challenge pack at first. I'm going to try to work with my, customer. And I tell them too, like, you might sell that refresh at first and they're going to lose maybe 5 pounds and they're going to come back to you and they're going to be like, I want that bag of Shakeology. And then you're going to be like, well, you'd have better results if you paired it with the 21-day fix. So any sale is a good sale. Start them off with something that they feel comfortable paying for, and then you can, bring them up to the next thing. I feel like the hardest thing maybe for us is getting that challenge pack sometimes, because it's a lot of money, because that customer doesn't know how amazing they're going to feel when they start doing it. So don't let your coaches get so hung up on Success Club points and challenge packs at the beginning. Like, let them feel comfortable and excited about any sale, that they make. Another thing I do with my PS coaches is I try to do weekly check-ins. For my brand new coaches, I have a spreadsheet that has all of my coaches that sign up each month. So like October coaches, September coaches, etc. And my goal for myself is to sign between 10 and 15 coaches a month. So that can get a little overwhelming to balance. So what I try to do is mark a little schedule, like, this girl I'm going to message today and this girl I message tomorrow. And I just have to be very organized with it, because I don't feel like it's fair to sign up a new coach and you're all excited, you put them through training, you add them to the groups, and then they don't hear from you anymore. Them not hearing from you and you not being present in their life makes them not as excited or motivated to want to do anything with their business. Sometimes they, we're all our own boss and we get that, but sometimes you need to be a little bit more present with a brand new coach, and being so present that first 30 or 60 days is what makes them really successful coaches as they move on. So I try to do check-ins at least once a week. It's usually more than that. And I tell them, I want them to ask me any question that they feel they haven't been able to find the answer to. I always want them to try to be resourceful and look it up first, but never hesitate to send me a message. Me personally, I have a 24-hour turnaround policy with my inbox. Maybe that's because I worked in PR, but I never go more than 24 hours without returning a message. So I feel like it's really important with any of our coaches, but especially our new ones, to be very responsive and be very present with them. If they send you a message at 9 a.m., try to get back to them by the end of the day. Prioritize your inbox. If you have a coach that has been a coach for 5 months and they haven't, maybe they're not active right now, but you have a brand new coach that you know is pushing for emerald, and you're looking at your inbox and there's 50 messages in there, pick that coach, that new coach that's, is pushing and she really wants this. So just kind of balance your day so that you're able to really give the time needed to these new coaches. And another thing that I do is I check in on their social media. This is for a couple of different reasons. One, like I mentioned to you guys before, social media is huge to me and my team. I feel like it's one of the most important resources we have as coaches. But me liking their posts and me commenting on their posts, it's like the morale boost. I remember like when I was a newer coach and I was just starting out, and when Steph Chico would like comment on one of my pictures, I was like,
focus on that.
I was so excited, like she's looking at my stuff, like the cool. So sometimes we forget like how cool that might be to our new coach to have us show up on their social media and post. But another reason why we're checking on their social media, and this is for coaches within like usually their first 30 days, is to see if they're posting. Because all of us have had that coach that comes to us and they're like, I can't sell anything, no one's buying anything from me, nobody's interested. But if you're going to their social media and you're checking in, you're able to say, it's been 5 days and you haven't posted anything on your Facebook except for like a picture of your cat. So, you have to think like you got to be posting about your workout if you want someone to buy something from you. So we want to be very like proactive in looking at our coaches' social media so they don't go an entire month without posting something, relevant to Beachbody and to them becoming successful. And so I just think checking in, not only does it make them feel good that you're visiting their page and you're taking that time out of your day to like send them some sweet words, but it's also giving you the heads up if you might need to, chat with them a little bit more about scheduling a social media game plan, which is something we do in our boot camp group. A lot of new coaches start out and they're like, I don't know what to post about. I feel like this is super overwhelming. So I kind of wrote out like this basic thing, like Monday, these are a couple things you could post about. Tuesday, these are a couple things you could post about, to kind of like bring ideas to them. Oh, another thing I do when they start off is I ask them to think of 3 things about themselves that they are other than a Beachbody coach. And that is what they're going to use those things to post on social media throughout the day. You never want to be posting a million times a day about your workouts. You want to be posting other things so that you become relevant to people in other ways and you attract a niche market. And I teach them that super early on to be diverse. And that's how people are going to be interested in what you're doing if you're showing multiple things about who you are. So I know a lot of this is about social media. That's a lot of what I teach my coaches because your warm market just dries out really fast for most people. So it's just really important to get them comfortable very early on with sharing their journey and their story. That's kind of it. That's what I've got for you guys. If anyone has questions.
Oh my word. Jenn, thank you so much. I took some really good notes. You guys can go ahead, and if you want to talk, you can unmute yourself. Do you have any questions? I have a couple questions for Jenn before we open it for our mastermind.
Okay.
Anybody else have any questions before I start talking?
I looked at the chat. Lori said she'd like to get a list of the 13 topics. I can post that in our group, the topics that I have in my new coach training.
That would be awesome. So she's going to be posting that in our elite, our Southeast region elite and premier contenders page.
Yeah.
Okay. Any other questions, guys? So it sounds like a lot of your success can be traced back to building those relationships and loving on your coaches and kind of not necessarily hand-holding, but kind of hand-holding them and teaching them the way, showing the way and going the way with them, right? But
right.
How do you manage the balance between leading them and managing?
Mm-hmm. And I think it comes down to getting to know them on a personal level. The more you develop a friendship with these people, the more you're going to see their personality type. And you're going to see some of the people, they have like this inner thing inside them where they want to lead and they want to do things their own way. And so I'm just like, listen, I am here for anything you need, as much as you need me, but roll with it, like go. And then others are a little bit more, I don't want to use the word insecure in a bad way, but they're just nervous. Mm-hmm. And I feel like you can tell that early on when you're just having your chats, your friendly chats, and feel them out. So some people, they want you to tell them what to do. Some of my coaches, they're like, can you check in with me every day and just tell me I need to work out? I'm like, I'm not going to check in with you every day to tell you to work out, but I will check in with you throughout the week and encourage you that it's important that you work out, not only for yourself because you're going to feel better, but, you know, for your business. So I feel like you feel them out as a person, what they need you to do as their leader.
Good. That's a good answer. Love it. Okay. So
I have a question.
Yes, please. Is that Lori?
Yes, it is. So hi. It sounds to me like you have a ton of groups. And so my question is, how do you manage that workload? So can you explain to me how, like, I kind of understand the static group. That's great. The social media boot camp sounds like it was a previous group that you then have in the file section, and then they chat with each other when they go in that. How about like you said, your clean eating group is like something you keep up all the time? Mm-hmm. Do you like delete all the posts from the most recent, or do you just keep doing the same script over and over every month? How does that work?
So it's always a different theme. We've never repeated a theme in 2 years. It's always going to be different.
Oh, wow.
It's always different, but I feel like we have a lot. There's so much with like health and fitness that you can come up with something new every month. And we have like different, you know, like last month it was November, so we had Thanksgiving. So we did a clean Thanksgiving dinner group. And we created a meal plan for like traditional favorites and then how to make them healthy. For December, I feel like we're going to do like a fun crock pot group because it's getting cold everywhere else but like in Florida. And so like that's fun if people want to go in. Another good thing that I found about keeping the same group ongoing is people from 2 years ago, they still pop in there. And some of them turn into customers, some don't, but they enjoy popping in and being, you know, part of it. So it kind of runs itself. Like, you know, so it's like a 7-day clean eating group. And then it might be a 7-day Shakeology challenge. But other than that, it's like people post in there like, hey, I want a new heart rate monitor. Like, which one do you guys recommend? So it kind of just runs itself. The other groups, again, they all are that way. As the social media bootcamp group, people go in there and just ask questions. And then I'll pop in there and answer questions if someone tags me. But a lot of times the girls will answer each other's questions. It might be something someone else knows. And, you know, if any of you guys want to go in there, I opened it up to like it's TKO, Brandy Botts' team, but I opened it up to a whole big downline. So I don't mind sharing the stuff with you guys at all. Like if anyone wants to be in there. And then the conversation template group I was talking about, that's another static group. So it's not interactive. I have like a topic of like objections, for example, and then it has the template. And that's it. So nobody comments or posts in there. It's just for them to pop in and then grab a template and pop back to their customer. Does that help? Does that answer your question?
Oh, yeah. I mean, it sounds like a lot of the stuff self-run, but that's really, really excellent how that's set up. I find that one of the challenges is the information's out there in our groups, but nobody knows where to go to get it. And so instead of putting everything in the team page in the file section, which is hard to weed through, you're like creating these different groups. To navigate where to go to, which I really love. So with your free groups, you just change a cover photo, change the title, and that's great.
And then so we have new people come in, but so before we add the new people in, we post in there like, hey, we're going to be doing this from, you know, November 10th to 18th. Is anyone interested? And then people will be like, yes. And I'm like, okay, well, we're going to be posting and new people are coming in and let's welcome them in here. We start another round. I think there's like 3,000 people in there now, but so you know what I mean? Like when you get enough people in a group, it kind of runs on their own. I try to pop in those groups every couple days, answer questions and pop in there. But my biggest thing for challenge groups was running those set date ones where they're, you know, 21 days and you're popping in there and you have to pop in there, make a new post every day and answer questions every day. Those were the ones for me. I felt like I'm losing time here that I could be maybe doing something else that might be better for my business. So having these groups where you can bring everyone in, you give them the meal plan, you give them kind of like what to do, and then they can go forward with that. And then your coaches, as they move on, they're going to be making their quick groups, you know? So it's like,
so you don't do a script at all for the clean eating, the 7 days?
I kind of wing it.
Okay, you wing it. Yeah.
I mean, you know, I feel like maybe when I first started, what I did with my PS coaches is I would tell them, you're in charge of posting the workouts. So we do during the clean eating groups is we post like a workouts, like do 25 burpees, do 15 mountain climbers, do a 60-second jog. And we make a little flyer and then we post that and then people comment below when they finish it. And I would kind of assign that. But I have so many of those flyers now from doing them in the past that I just pop one out.
Cool.
Yeah.
I like giving them new coaches with the responsibility too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And that makes them feel like they're understanding it and they're learning it. And, you know, but with all my PS coaches now, I'm like, you're all in with me. I have their names and I'm able to kind of shoot them messages like, hey, did you pop in there? So it ends up working that way too.
Love it. I think Debbie has a question. Debbie, you can go ahead and unmute yourself.
Okay, thanks so much. Thanks, Jen, for doing this. I love it. I want to start my own training group. The way our team has been doing it, it's been a 14-day video type thing, and I love your idea. So I'm just wondering if you could just tell me a tiny bit more about how you run that training, because I want to do the same thing. I've been thinking about it for days.
Okay, so we have like a welcome post, and I basically give them like a rundown of how the group works for them to understand what they're being added into. And then I link them to the file section where they can download the coach training checklist that I created for them. And so they know, okay, I'm in this group. This is how it works. Each post has a topic at the top, and I have it in caps, and then a couple spaces down, and that's where the information is. So when they're scrolling through and they have their checklist open, they're able to clearly see, okay, this one is about what is Shakeology. And so they're able to go right to that topic and look at that information. And I tell them you can.
Is this a Facebook group that they're in then?
It is. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah. I haven't had any coaches that have not decided to create a Facebook purely for the group aspect of it. So I recruit primarily on Instagram. I don't recruit coaches on Facebook, but my Instagram coaches, they'll create a Facebook just to access our training. I had a team training website at one point that was totally outside of Facebook. It wasn't really utilized. So there's a lot of trial and error in what works.
Awesome. Is there any way that we can be in it or anything to
share the
know
template
how it works?
I can share. I have a template of it. Some of my coaches, they prefer to just print it out and not actually view it in the group. So I have a template and I can upload that into the file section.
Okay.
Yeah.
Great. Thank you.
Wow, guys, this does not happen in other companies that I've been a part of. Like, seriously, the fact that she is so willing to give, Jen, you don't have to do that. So thank you so much for being so willing to share your information and pass that down and pass it along to us. I really appreciate that.
For sure.
Thanks, Debbie, for asking that question. Let's see. I think Sarah. Okay. So anyone else to ask Jen a question or to share maybe some of their tips and best practices for getting their coaches started right that's worked?
I have another question.
Yes, ma'am.
So since we are supposed to be talking about PV, it sounds like, and one of the great tidbits I got, it sounds like you're really encouraging them just to sell anything. So do you think that is like really big contributor of, because I have a lot of people that start and they get stuck because they're trying to sell challenge packs.
Totally. I mean, I feel like if we have the mindset of just selling, then they're not going to sell. So all of this stuff that we talked about is like a build-up to making them feel confident and even reaching out to someone to try to sell. And I feel like if we, right from the bat, try teaching them how to sell, because I'm telling you guys, I'm the worst salesperson ever. So if this job was like based on sales, I would be failing like horribly. But I think like giving them this confidence and this boost, like I can message Debbie and be like, hey, like, I'm working for this company. We have these awesome products. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I feel like we go straight into like teaching them how to sell, they won't sell, So, but yes, I mean, once we get to the point where I think they feel comfortable in their knowledge of the business, then it's like make any sale, anything, and like talk to them about their budget. And then they're going to know the products well enough to know like hip hop abs might be like a little bit cheaper, you know, or, you know, try to get them to Beachbody on Demand because that's affordable. So they'll know what to kind of say in these conversations.
Great. Did that help you, Lori?
Yeah. And
Okay.
that's what I'm trying to do with my team this month is like 3-day refresh, you know, just like sell refreshes.
Yeah.
Such a great
And refresh to me is like golden because it's like they see instant results in 3 days. And it's like, I've never had a customer that's like, 3 days is too long. You know, they're like 3 days, I can lose this in 3 days. So it's like, and the price point to me is easy, like $129.95. It's harder for someone to see that, but they're like, oh, I can totally do a refresh. Yeah, for sure. So, but then when they are able to see those results, that's when they're more willing to spend the other money.
And they've developed that, you know, kind of, you know, rapport with you if they're cold market, right? So.
Yeah, they feel good and they're like, all right, yes, totally.
Awesome. Laura, did you have any follow-ups to that? I think Sarah Lenore has a question. Oh, wait. And then after Sarah, Craig has a question, it looks like.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Hi, Jen. Oh my gosh, that was so awesome. Thank you so much for sharing. I had one question about what you said in the very beginning about the why. And I agree that I think the why is so important, but I feel like new coaches, and I struggled with this, that's why I'm asking, because as a new coach, I didn't really like have a why and this strong like thing, drive or passion or anything to really keep me pushing, or, you know, people say your why is going to make you cry and all this stuff. So how do you pull that out of them or kind of redirect them, or what's your secret with that?
So I kind of feel like we may not think we have one, but the more we talk about it with someone else, we realize we do. So when I started, I was like, well, my why is simply because I don't want to work for my job anymore. Like, I don't like what I'm doing, you know? But then I realized that wasn't my why. I was like actually really unhappy as a person doing what I was doing. I felt very unfulfilled. And I love being a mom, but it wasn't fulfilling me. And it was like the more conversation I had with my coach, who's Chico, I realized that. So I think we might all start out as a coach and we're like, well, I'd like to make some extra money. Like, that would be cool. But the more you might talk more about their personal life, I mean, the stories that my coaches have shared with me over time, I'm just like, wow, I feel like so blessed to like have these people, you know, sharing their hearts with me. But I think that, like what you're saying, like that it might not immediately spark in their head. In my Glimpse into Coaching group, we talk about it right off the bat. It's one of the topics. I ask like all potential coaches to kind of think on it. So if they've been through that, they've already started thinking about it, you know, and then these personal conversations, you know, I try to like know, like, are you married? Do you have kids? So some of my coaches are college students and they really don't want to have like that job that takes them away from studying. So you gotta just, I feel like you gotta just go a little deep with them as far as they'll let you go.
Okay, so just ask more questions and then encourage that the why can change over time and it can evolve.
For sure.
Okay.
Yes.
I like it. Thanks. Love it. Thanks.
Awesome. And then there's a question on the chat from Craig. Are there any products and or approaches to move products that any of you are finding effective during the holidays?
Thank you for reading that for me, Keyshawn.
No problem. I'm going to mute myself.
Hey, I just think like, you know, obviously we're in the holidays, maybe some of the traditional approaches that we use in other months, you know, are challenging right now, but there's also some opportunities that don't present themselves to us that happen during the holidays. And so, you know, the 3-day refresh was mentioned, but are there anything, you know, again, this goes to not just Jen, but all of you. I mean, we want to generate commissions for you during this month. We want to move volume for you and your team, your organization. You know, many people, again, are shooting for elite and they need that, you know, that PV during this month. What are some things that maybe you guys are doing, either product, this holiday theme, or what ideas can we, you know, take to optimize the opportunities that doing business during the holidays gives us, instead of thinking that, well, it's too hard to do it during the holidays? How can we leverage the opportunities that exist during this month that maybe don't exist during other months. That's what I wanted to throw out there.
Well, I feel like what I've been doing is talking to them, not so much like, okay, maybe you're having a hard time selling right now. When's the last time you switched up your program? Like, when's the last time you bought a new fitness program that you started? Maybe you've been doing 21 Day Fix for 4 months now. Maybe it's time for you to buy a new program and start something else, so that your social media is seeing you now you're doing PIO. Well, now they're interested in that you're doing PIO, so maybe they're going to be interested in buying PIO from me because they see you doing something else. So there's that, switching up, them making a purchase. And then like stocking stuffers, I kind of tell my coaches, like we said about the refresh, but also if you buy like a box of, the Shakeology packets and you can tie them up, like put them in a little cellophane baggie and have like some ribbon, like those are cute little gifts that you can do if you're doing small get-togethers and stuff like that. So a lot of my coaches, they're saying that they're doing these little gift bags for stocking stuffers, and that's you buying a whole box of Shakeology for yourself and then gifting them. So that's one way.
Anyone else out there? Thanks, Jen. Those are cool.
Mm-hmm.
I guess not. Like, come on, guys. Hey, I know.
Craig, it's
Yeah.
it's Steph Cram here. So one of the things that my team and I have been doing, kind of incorporating the fixed containers, because this is the time of the year between Thanksgiving and Christmas where this is, even if you're working out, if you're not eating right, it screws you. So we've come up with simplifying how to take your traditional holiday meals and making it so they're a little bit healthier, but really teaching people about good eating habits. And so that's introducing the containers. It's helping people to see the results from the things that they have to buy anyway, which is food. And so during a time where people may not have the time to invest in a program, they're not ready, they're at least changing their eating habits, and it's building that relationship.
I love that. Like, so the portion fix, like trying to sell the portion fix.
Yeah. And partnering that too with Fixate.
I love that.
And then you can probably even pair that with like Beachbody On Demand and get them to test the different programs that we have there. Love that. Stephanie, thanks for chiming in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
This is Sarah, and you just reminded me of something that we did. We actually did it last month, but it was the Beachbody On Demand free trial, and we ran like a free group and got people signed up with the free trial, and then it converted some people into challenge packs because they fell in love with the programs and the sneak peeks that they were doing like that. So a free on-demand group is one thing that we did.
Yeah, I decided to incorporate. I got this idea from Monica Lopez in the Master Hammer and Chisel talk, and so I totally changed the way I was going to do my challenge group, because I was going to start it on the 7th, and I'm still starting on the 7th. But instead of starting with Hammer and Chisel on Monday, doing a month of Beachbody On Demand with a hybrid workout that incorporates the 2 Master Hammer and Chisel workouts, and then officially starting on the 4th, because honestly, nobody, including me, doesn't want to eat like really great over Christmas. So, and I really want to commit to this program. And so I just started loading people in that group today. And so they have 2 choices. They can buy the Hammer and Chisel up front immediately if they know absolutely they want it and can start doing it right away, or they can trial it until the 4th, but they can't stay in the group past the 4th without, getting Hammer and Chisel and drinking Shakeology. And that idea was so great. When she said that, I was like, I'm doing that. And so I'm implementing that.
Lots of great ideas. Thank you so much, Lori. Is there anything else, guys? Uh-oh, I think my internet is messing up. Oh, shoot. Okay, well, if you guys can still hear me, even though I'm frozen, I'm going to keep talking. So I think that this was a very healthy discussion. This was recorded, and so this will be posted in the Elite and Premier Contenders page for the Southeast region for you to share with your team. A lot of this was new information, too. A lot of the times this information is that we hear from our trainings is kind of repurposed and just made better, but it's a lot of the same information. And tonight I took some fresh notes. So thank you so much, Jenn. And just to kind of go back to what I think the essence of her team culture is the relationship aspect of it. She has genuine relationships. She builds genuine relationships with her team. And I think that that's what kind of sets her team apart. I've heard leaders come in and I've heard them really just focusing on the money and not necessarily building relationships. And to be candid, some of them have had success, but most of them don't maintain it. They don't sustain that success. And so I can understand and I can see why, Jenn, you and your team have been so successful because of those relationships that you created with them. So thank you so much for being here, joining us, for sharing your tips, for posting stuff in the page and in the file section. Girl, you are heaven sent.
For sure. I'm so excited. Thank you for having me on, guys.
No problem. All right.
I like her decorations and her doggies.
I know, right? I'm looking at the bird cage behind you like,
I like the colors.
Thank you.
All right, guys. Well, you go out there. Happy Thursday. And let's keep pushing hard through the end of the year. We'll talk soon.
Bye, guys.
Thank you, Jenn.
Take care, everyone.